So structural protein, food protein, uh, collagen, like a human structural protein, food protein, non-food protein, pharmaceutical protein, everything is being expressed in plants these days. And War of Genetics is another company in Iceland that is a very successful plant molecular company that has a lot of growth factors, which is nothing but human proteins required for cell-based meat cultivation, antibodies. They produce all kinds of things for pharmaceutical applications also on top of food. So there are a lot of companies emerging and already established companies out there that is playing a very big role in plant molecular farming. And these days also they are turning to dyes in addition to the food pharmaceutical proteins, dyes, because if you see the food industry, the color of the food and color of the various ingredients we eat, these are all dyed, right? And if you see some of the dyes are synthetic dyes. Now the government is slowly phasing away because of the carcinogenic property and other hazardous health properties, so that they want natural dyes. So that's why there are many companies now slowly using plant molecular farming to produce these natural pigments in the plants and extract the pigments and use it for food processing and food downstream food applications. So there's a lot of good things that's happening. Some of the hurdles here in the plant molecular farming is particularly there are two ways of plant molecular farming. One is transient expression and another one is GMO. The GMO, as everybody knows, you insert a foreign gene into a plant, and the foreign gene can come from any source. Doesn't matter. It could be from another plant, or it could be from bacteria. It could be from another fungus, or whatever is the source. If it is determined as GMO, then it has to undergo regulation. Depending on what country is that. Most of the countries have a regulation that involves cost, time, so and a long path to the market. So that is one of the biggest hurdle in the plant molecular farming. And also sometimes the downstream processing. It is very easy to grow the plants in large scale in the greenhouses, even in the field. It's not that difficult to express a protein. And what is difficult is that to purify the protein out of the plant, because it's expressed in the leaves or the seeds. There's a mixture of several proteins, and among the background of many proteins is your target protein. That means you need to isolate or purify your target protein from a background of all the other endogenous proteins. That involves downstream processing. A lot of money and cost involved in the filtration and other downstream processing technologies to purify the target protein. That's where the cost picture comes in. There are a lot of optimization, work optimization comes in on top of the regulation.
Okay. And which segment is, if we talk about any from biotech or maybe food tech, which segment is booming right now, which are working towards sustainability?
Yes, again, as far as the sustainable, the word sustainable is already always related to cutting down emissions.
Yes.
No, cutting down carbon emissions or methane emissions or GHG in general, greenhouse gas emissions. So if you see that there are people are doing many ways. For example, alternative protein sector is big on that, because whatever you get from animals, it could be egg protein, milk comes from cow. This meat like beef, pork, you need to raise cow and slaughter it. You need to raise pig and other slaughter it. So everything. For example, the amount of land, the amount of water, the amount of energy, the amount of feedstock, everything that you need in order to raise a single cow is a single cow emits so many. The process involved in all these things emits the X amount of GHGs, right? And if you have the plant producing the same meat protein or egg protein or a milk protein, there's a considerable reduction in the amount of the GHG emission. Plant molecular farming and precision fermentation technologies, plant-based meat, those on one side contributes to novel way sustainable production. The other is use of biologicals. Instead of using synthetic chemicals, like as we already discussed, like pesticide, herbicide, fungicide, and insecticide, those are all chemicals, and even the fertilizer. If you see the fertilizer that is being used by all farmers all over the world, it's nothing but chemical, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, along with other chemicals. So if you see what it takes to produce this fertilizer, the amount of carbon dioxide that is emitted during the manufacturing of these chemicals is huge. That's why when you use biologicals, there's a shift, there's a considerable reduction in the emission of the GHGs when you use these biologicals like biopesticides, biofertilizer, and biostimulants. So biologicals is one category in the agriculture that is contributing to the GHG emission sustainable production. The entire alternative protein sector that involves four technologies and other secondary technology, that is another thing. And also uh, the vertical farming, the hydroponics, aquaponics, depending on, so in some countries it is successful, in some countries it's not, but overall the overall CEA, controlled environment agriculture, that is done properly. Not every CES, the CES that is properly done, they also contribute to the contribute or slash the GHG emission as well. And so these are some of the things. There are many things that's going on, because soil diagnostics, soil analysis, those are all contribute directly or indirectly to the GHG emission as well. And also not just the food production, because food production, the process involved in the producing the food or growing plants is one thing for contribute to the GHG emission, but it's not that alone. Food waste. Once we produce the food, tons of food is being wasted, which is $1 trillion problem globally.
Yes.
The food waste is another big contributor of GHGs. So there are many technologies around the food waste now to extend the shelf life of the produce, the fruits and the vegetables, and to minimize the PHL, post-harvest loss. There are many technologies and many companies are working on globally, and that's very hot these days, that particular segment of extending the shelf life and reducing the post-harvest loss and increasing the storage of all these grains and other things that is produced by agriculture also contributes to the reduction of the GHGs.
And you have a deep experience generating gene-edited crop at Cybus versus traditional transgenic method. So with the regulatory landscape constantly shifting, so how should founders today decide which technical route to take if they want to get their product to market quickly?
That is a great question. Yes, irrespective, as we speak, GMO, the genetic engineering or genetically modified crops, is totally different from gene-edited crops. And that difference, what is the difference? What is the understanding level of education? Is not very well out there. So, except for a certain segment of the people, most of them, they think and treat that both are same, but they are not same. It's a simple difference is that in the case of GMO, that is genetically modified organisms or genetically modified crops, there is some foreign gene inside that. As I said, the gene source of the gene could be a bacteria, it could be another plant, it could be another fungus or another virus or whatever is that. A gene that can confer some certain trait or character to a plant is sourced from those other organisms and transferred to a given plant. It could be a rice, it could be a potato or whatever, tomato, whatever the crop is. That is GMO. So there is something foreign there. Whereas in the case of the gene edited, you are not introducing any foreign gene into a crop. What essentially is done that the gene that is already natively originally present inside a target plant like a tomato or a potato or rice, whatever is that, is tweaked. Some of its nucleotides or bases is slightly changed. That's all it is. We are not putting any foreign gene in that. It is like changing the letter in a word, something like that, to be as simple as possible. So you are tweaking. That is gene editing. So as we speak, gene editing is about 10-year-old technology. As you all know, it's one of the Nobel Pricing. When 2 years ago, it was awarded Nobel Prize because it finds application not just in food and agriculture, across entire spectrum of biotechnology. It could be any biotech, pharmaceutical, microbial, plants, animals, human. It doesn't matter. It's applicable across the board. It has attained fast traction. Reason is that as we speak, 35 plus countries have approved gene editing, including India, which approved gene editing in 2022, about 2 to 3 years ago. So the timeline, if you take the US was the first country to approve gene editing, and US was the first country to bring a gene edited crop, in this case, gene edited soybean oil to the market by a company called Calix in Minnesota. That was the very first product to come to the market. The second was GABA, GABA, meaning gamma aminobutyric acid enriched tomato from Those are the two products in the market, and slowly some others are coming in the line. So, what I mean, in terms of regulation, the key difference here is that the amount of money, the amount of time, and the process involved in bringing a GMO product to the market versus gene editing, there is total different. In the case of GMO, it takes 10 years to bring a product to the market. The amount of dollars is about $500 million for the entire expenditures to bring a product from the lab to the market. The amount of regulation is enormous, and GMO is also banned in most countries.
Okay.
It's approved in, most of the countries still have banned, including India. Classic
Yes.
example. India has banned GMO. The only GMO that is cultivated in India is a cotton, BT cotton. That is a non-food crop. It's a fiber crop. There is no GMO food crop cultivated in India, even as of now, as we speak. So that is the thing with GMO. Whereas in the case of gene edited, the path to the market is approximately, the timeline is approximately not 10 years, it's only 4 to 5 years, depending on the crop you work with. It's about 4 to 5 years, and the amount of the dollars that it takes for a product to come to the market from the lab via gene editing is about, I would say, 25% of the cost of a GMO. If a GMO takes $100 million, this can be about achieved in probably $30 or $50 million in the case of the gene editing. Oh, and also gene editing is gaining approval across the world in different countries. As I said, we are in about close to 40 countries have now approved gene editing, and every year, every month, you can see then the other countries are slowly adding to the list. But probably in another next 5 years, most of the countries where biotech is going on, where they would have approved the gene editing and in the respective countries. So gene editing has a great potential. And the technology is evolving so rapidly. There are several forms of gene editing as we speak now, and many people across the developing nations are getting trained of how to use the gene editing technologies by other scientists from the other countries. So I see there's a great potential of gene editing. It doesn't mean that GMO is not going to go away, because most of the traits that is there out there is still GMO, because gene editing has just started to evolve.
You have spent over 20 years of working across ecosystem, from Cornell to Tel Aviv University to the corporate world. So what is the single biggest mistake you see academic scientists make when they try to pitch their research to investor for the first time?
Yeah, so there's a lot of mistakes, but the single topmost mistake, because as I have been on both sides of the aisle, what I see single mistake is that talking too much on science, not about business at all. Not project. You are not the founding team who that pitches to in front of the investors. They project themselves as hardcore scientists, but not as an entrepreneur. There's a huge difference between just being as a scientist or an R&D person than an entrepreneur. VC wants an entrepreneur in front of them. He or she wants to see a business person. The business person could be a scientist by himself. He could be a scientist. That's not an issue. That's even a strength, because he understands the core R&D. He has a huge amount of experience in R&D, how to shape up or bring the new technology. That is a strength. But what is lacking in most, not all, but most, is the business sense, and entrepreneurship is skill. When the process, what it takes to start a business and to run a business, what it takes, that is lacking in most of the founders who are basically the R&D or faculty or scientists from the universities or even from other companies as well. That's the number one, I would say. And we can keep on adding many things to that, but this is number one. The lack of that knowledge and in the entrepreneurship side.
Okay, so what should they do about it? Let's say if they have a group of scientists in university doing a particular research. So before going on, talking about their idea or in front of investors. So to avoid this problem, what should they do about it?
That's why this early stage entrepreneurs, there are many programs run by different non-profit accelerators, non-profit incubators. There are several entrepreneurship programs that are run by either free of cost or from a minimal cost across nations in different parts of the world. They should first figure out where are these accelerators incubators run programs found,
Mhm.
and what is the type of incubator and accelerator program that will be a fit to us, because some of
Okay.
them run for some vertical focus, health tech or med tech. Some of them are
Mhm.
specifically focused on ag food tech. Some of them are even general sector agnostic. Irrespective of whatever is a fit, you join those programs and run through those 8 weeks or 6 weeks, depending on the length of the program. Understand each step of the business, like starting from customer discovery, marketing, business
Mhm.
model, financial model, patent protection, uh, GTM, go to market methodologies or technology, go to market process, and then how to uh, where to find the market. Now all these every step in the business making, and how to run the
Mhm.
company, and how to incorporate the company, what is the legal process in that, and how to kind of make the dilutions for the co-founders, because there are two or three co-founders in a company, and then how the shares are split
Mhm.
among them, and how to develop an advisory board for a company. So every single thing about this entrepreneurship, making a company, running a company, starting running a company, is split
Mhm.
into different weeks across the course of those 6 or 8 weeks in these incubators and accelerators, which happens within the university in campuses, and also outside of the university campus by many ESOs, entrepreneurship support organizations. They are called ESOs, entrepreneurship support organizations. There are many across the country, across the state, in all these nations. Find out what is that, and then join a one that is fit and learn all these things, and then come up with a way to convert your idea into a startup, and then go to many networking events. There are a lot of events, in-person events these days after the COVID that is happening. Go to those kind of startup networking events, startup challenges, and go to other pitch events, so you
Mhm.
know how people pitch there, so they can learn from them. What are the mistakes
Mhm.
you should know, you should avoid when you are given a chance to pitch? Go to VC investor. There are many open pitch challenges, pitch competitions, where VC comes and serves as a judge for the event. So they are
Mhm.
the judge for that event. You go and attend as as not as a participant, just as an audience, to see how the founders pitches and how the VC evaluates, and what is this decision, and what are the things that he looks for in a given company or a given pitch. So you can understand how a VC, a VC's mind or VC's thought process about evaluating a pitch. So these are all learning curves, and then slowly you learn everything, accumulate, assimilate everything, and incorporate all the learnings that whatever you have had by joining all these programs into your pitch making, into your pitching in front of the investors.
Okay. So um, we have talked about multiple segments. So, which, if we talk about any research or maybe any startup, so what kind of area most likely to get grants instead of investment or something? There are multiple type of grants, I believe, from government or some other private company as well. So what kind of research or startup these startup get these type of grants?
Yes, that's also a good question. So, the key point, whether it's a government provided grant or
Mhm.
some of the non-profit foundations out there, like climate foundations, there are many non-profit NGOs and other things that are available out there. They also provide grant money to the early stage companies, early stage founders. Most importantly, is that there are two things into question these days, particularly in the ag
Mhm.
food sector. One is whether whatever the technology, what are the solution, or what are the problem you are trying to solve, the
Mhm.
solutions that you offer, whether it has a, a particularly a scalable potential.
Mhm. Okay.
Whether it can be scaled and commercialized. You can work on something in R&D. That should
Mhm.
not stop there. The purpose of this grant, particularly these kind of grant, there are two kinds of grants. The grant that focus only on early stage research, meaning academic grants.
Yes.
Those don't care about, whether you want to convert that ideas or a technology or a IP into a company. That is
Mhm.
different. That is only for meaning
Yes.
doing just the R&D discovery. That is different. But there are other kind of grants for commercialization grants. Those are the grants that talk about that they want scalable and commercialization potential of the solution or the technology that a given founders or a founding team is building on. So they want to essentially see whether this can be really translated at the industrial level, or this can be commercialized in one sentence. Number two is that because you are food and agriculture, particularly food and agriculture, the sustainability and impact also comes into picture. Whatever the type of solution that you are working on, whether this solution is what is the percentage of sustainability that this solution can bring in, which is lacking now.
Okay.
What about the environmental impact that the solution can produce, like more amount of food, or protect a crop from diseases in such a way that it doesn't have much of the environmental impact, like in a chemical, for example, and also can cut down on the sustainability, meaning cut down on the GHG and other greenhouse gas emissions. So these some of the things they look at other things like team composition, whether the team is qualified to do this, whether they have the business experience, all those things they look into that. But main thing is that whether this can be commercialized or not. What is the commercialization potential, and is there evidence for that, a data to prove that yes, this can be commercialized when it is scaled. And second thing is the sustainability and impact.
Okay. So let's say I'm in a startup who does not have expertise in finance myself, or I don't have anyone in my team as well. I'm very early stage startup. So what should we focus on? Let's say I get I am about to get funding, or maybe I'm about to pitch my idea in any pitch event. So what should I consider about the finance if I'm in a startup, early stage startup?
Yes, that's why I understand that most of the startups, because they are all early stage companies, they don't have special expertise or a special paid consultant to advise them. That's why there are many advisors who can mentors and advisors there who have rich startup experience, science experience, as well as very good business entrepreneurship and financial experience, because they have done this for many times in their career. And there are many that are willing to volunteer their time free of cost. Free of cost. They can take a 1 hour, 2 hour consulting call, or in person or Zoom, whatever is that. They are willing to offer. There are many. Because I'm doing that to many of
Okay.
the global companies. So, volunteering my time without taking a penny from their pocket, just to share the knowledge and expertise, know-hows, connections, network, and whatever is that to those early stage founders, because they don't have that expertise in the team. So they have to reach out to all these advisors and mentors with rich of experience, and there are many people out there who are ready to help without spend their time without charging anything, like free, totally free. And all they want to know is that whether the startup team is really onto that, is really serious about what they are doing, whether they are able to put their energy, time, and everything, and believe in whatever they are doing. And also, as I said, previously to the previous question, they can go to many events out there, startup events, incubators, and accelerators. There are many things that are free of cost. You can join them. You can go to 1 day, 2 day, or 2 weeks, or 8 weeks. There are several kinds of programs out there these days. Unlike 20 years ago, the amount of help and the amount of resource was minimal to those early days. But now, because of the digital thing, because of all this technology improvement, digital technology, everything is available in front of you. All you have to do is that spend time, search for the right resource. There is a pool of resource, thousand resources are
Yes.
available. You need to search the right one that is a right fit, and then learn from them. Or you can reach out to some of them in your network who have built a startup, who have already navigated all these challenges. Go and talk to them and learn from them as well. So there are many ways to do that, even if you don't have the expertise by yourself. And nobody expects that you should know everything. Nobody knows everything.
Yes.
Now, a startup team is a combination of people who brings in expertise and experience from different domains, I would say.
Yes. So I like this idea, like reaching out to the right people. if it's advisor or maybe in your network. Because when you're in early stage, I think spending a lot of time on doing different things or learning skill by yourself, you should reach out to someone, right?
Yes,
So that you can, put your time wherever it is necessary.
effectively. Yeah, because
Okay.
in for startup, time is money.
Yes, of course.
Time is money. Even if you succeed in getting a VC money, say 1 million, $2 million from a VC, you
Mhm.
need to spend that money effectively in a short time and prove to the VC that you achieved what you said when you raise the money.
Yes.
Otherwise,
Mhm.
you're not going to go to the next round. So
Mhm.
time is money. So you need to use your time very, very effectively in such a way that you are achieving your milestones, goals, objectives, KPIs, whatever is that, within the stipulated time frame. Otherwise, you are not going to the next stage. So that's why you need the help of all the ESOs, entrepreneurship support organizations, individual advisors, individual mentors, your network, everybody. You have to take the help from every single one of them out there in order to move the needle of your company from A to B.
Okay.